Oh, quick thing. Where you at in Zero 2?
Oh, I already beat it. I was just getting the rest of the trophies so I can move on to 03.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that sound, dude. Two's always been like I was always wondering when I was sitting there. It was funny because I was like, I know Zero 2 has some problems here and there, mainly with like level design, but like I didn't think like anything else was too bad. I just remember gravitating towards that game in 3, playing it through the collection again, dude. It's just funny because I'm like, this shit is the soundtrack, dude. Like 2 by far has my favorite. One of the the 4,
Yep.
But that's not to say that the other ones coming up are slouches either. There's some songs that I would definitely say are amongst like the best in the series, and those are like in 4. Even though 4 is not my favorite soundtrack, it's probably my least favorite of the bunch. But like, I mean, when you got tracks like "Falling Down," what was it? Crossover Station, Esperanto. Like, dude, there's so many good tracks on there. So I'm just kind of like, that's hard, man. Like,
yeah,
it's just like I've always said, like, hey, it's like X3 of the Mega Man Zero series. Songs are dope, but the like the samples that they use in it are whack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a big, like, you've messed around with guitar, so, like, you understand what I mean, the difference between good composition and then something just sounds like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody's heard a remaster of an old metal album versus the remaster, or the the old version versus the remaster. Like, sometimes cleaning the shit up from sounding like it was recorded in a basement can do benefits.
Yeah.
Making the drums sound like you're actually in an arena or like at a live show, and it has like that poundingness, you know what I'm saying? Like that pound to it, like the kick drum. Stuff like that goes a long way to make a song sound better, dude. And it's like, that's what I mean, where it's like, it's not the songs that suck, it's just the way it sounds. 03, it's definitely, I think you've noticed like the progression of just like how things sound musically. It changes with like the tone of the games too. Like, the first one's a bit more like desolate, like, it's like it almost feels almost out of place, just like Zero feels. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, everything's just messed up. You know what I'm saying? You woke me up, and the first thing you tell me is basically save the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of gives you that feeling of being lost in a strange, fucked up world.
Stranger in a strange land.
Exactly. And then, too, it's like, it has that feeling of confidence, like, I've been around the block. Like, it has, like, that same feel that X2 did to me, where it's like, hey, he's a bit hardened. He's figured his way out around this world, but there's still things left to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It has, like, that kind of feel to it. In 3, it's, like, epic. Like, they definitely give it more of an epic sound. It's definitely the best sounding of the bunch, like, quality-wise, and, like, just, you can tell at that point they really mastered the hardware, too. Like, really understood, like, how to make that GBA sound like it is the shit, because...
Yeah.
Yeah. In 4, I don't know what they were doing. I think they were just trying to not have Capcom... Like, I remember even reading in my art book, they were like, we did not want to make a 05, let alone be asked to make one, so we made sure that Zero dies in this one, kind of shit. Like, they were like, we were gonna do everything we could to, like, close the book.
Right.
And make sure there is nothing else that there was no way they could force a sequel on us, otherwise it'd be stupid.
Right.
And so it kind of has a feeling of finality to it, I think, for better or for worse. Like, it sounds like they rushed making these songs sound good on the Game Boy Advance, but they made sure that the songs sounded like epic. Like, this is the end. So it's cool. It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
And ZX Advent, I have very, very weird opinions about those games. I ended up liking Advent a lot, man. But, dude, ZX. I've never been... Okay, you know how... this is why it fucked me up. You know how I was telling you, last game I played basically before this collection was Days Gone. And I've told you my feelings about that game, like how I was like, I think it's actually a pretty damn good game. It's just, it's also like, its flaws are so obvious right off the top too.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way about like ZX, dude. Like the quality is all over the place. Yeah, the game looks dope. Yeah, it feels dope to play. The levels themselves are all right. But dude, that map system fucking sucks. I hate like the way that things are laid out in that game. It is way too confusing to get around without a guide. I don't like it. You can't play that game naturally. You can't just play it by playing it, dude. You will be lost for hours. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's absolute. Imagine, okay, you know how, like, you had a taste of it in 0-1 where it's like, yeah, you can leave the resistance base and run around and actually go back to old areas that you've already been through, like actual levels, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine if that was actually hard to do.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
That's
about.
yeah. Basically,
I've
they
actually
did
seen
that.
in games before.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so going through the levels themselves ain't that bad. It's getting to the levels that's a problem, dude. And
Yeah.
it drove me up the fucking wall. Like, I've literally... Let me put it this way. I started ZX after 1, and before I started 2. I didn't end up finishing it until I finished every other game on the collection.
Yeah.
That should tell you how fucked up that was. And I didn't even need a guide for Advent.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like, I've never felt so mixed about a Mega Man game where it's like, dude, like, I'm actually using a fucking strategy guide for a Mega Man game because it makes no sense. Like, that feels stupid. It feels dumb. But, and it's not even for secrets necessarily. It's literally to beat the game. Okay. Like, I mean, I guess some people like that, but I just think that's kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm already playing a fucking 8 hour long Mega Man game. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. So, it's, slow it down, Chief. That's why Advent came out. You know what I'm saying? But, dude, the music's dope, though. Like, the music's fucking tight on it. I definitely didn't give it enough credit the first time around. Like, they have some, I mean, dude, that mini boss track, the track that plays when you fight mid bosses, slap prime. It's good. It's really, really good. It's definitely like on some Genesis tier shit. Like, I really like the sound quality of them, and like, I don't know, like, it came out at a perfect time when I was just getting done watching some Kamen Rider stuff. So, like, I was like, you know what? I actually like this tokusatsu shit where they're, like, taking the powers from, like, old heroes and, like, using their powers, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was kind of cool. And from a gameplay standpoint, I mean, shit, it basically means you have, like, 8 or 9 armors that you can use, and they're all useful. Mm-hmm. It's just like the X games, but, like, actually, like, they figured out, like, what they've been working on since X3 up till, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can we do, like, in terms of, like, customizing it to where everybody can play their own Mega Man, I guess. And what can we do to make each of these forms useful or good? And they totally figured out the formula with those games, and I feel like that's awesome. Yeah, I like the ZX games for the most part, but that other one ain't something I want to play all the time, man. That first one, I was almost ready to call it a piece of shit, to be honest with you. Like, I really did not like that game.
Damn.
but I was like, I can't call it a piece of shit because I can't say I didn't have fun with it at points, man. It was just a game. I don't know. I know some people prefer it over Advent, man. You'll get to it, and when you do, you're gonna be like, bruh, I might just start up Advent, and you can. Like, it's weird because Advent is technically part 2, but the funny thing is you don't have to have had played through ZX to really, like, care about the story in Advent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, for 2 reasons. One, the story's very, very much, like, on their own. Like, they follow, like, a different... I don't know, it has a different feel. You know what I'm saying? The first one, it kind of feels like you're learning about like how the world works, but the second game, it's more like you're learning about very specific characters in that world.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what else was it? Oh yeah,
All right,
Advent immediately. Oh, go
I'll be
ahead.
right back in like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, you could take your time, Holmes. We'll be here.
Well, I don't know. What the fuck? Oh wow. I'm choosing my suit. What the fuck?
Yeah, like Advent is part 2, but dude, it literally retcons things from ZX. Like, I was just like, dude, that was one game, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, one game deep, and you're already like changing huge things. Some things are minor, and other things are like huge things to the plot. Like, for example, the way biometals work in this game. Okay, and this is, I'm telling you now because this is how I interpreted it, being the first time that I actually like got to play these for myself from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Biometals in ZX establishes that those biometals are sentient, and you have to be basically compatible with the bio. Basically, the biometal has to like you. The biometal gets to choose its owner. So X, saw like, a sense of duty and justice within the main character. So therefore, he was like, "I like your personality. I've had the same ideals as you. Let's rock."
Yeah.
So that's how they ended up coming across the biometal. And part 2 is just pretty much, are you genetically fit to use it? So anybody can use them as long as you're like compatible with it. But here's the thing: they're still sentient. They still have a personality, but they don't get to choose their users anymore.
Because
I don't know. I don't know how I like that, because it was just like, I don't know. That seems like a weird oversight that's gonna come to bite them in the ass later.
For a minute,
Yeah.
just for a second.
Oh, you good? Take your time, dude. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things that's gonna end up becoming a really bad plot hole later. It ain't just like a contradiction, but it's like it's gonna get brought up in a situation, and then it's gonna be like, well, that literally makes no sense because that's not how things work.
That's crazy. So I mean, they're similar to the elves, aren't they? The cyber elves, aren't they? In a sense.
Bro, okay, so yes, they are. Yeah, okay, so now that, because you brought up cyber elves, yes, they are in a way, but like more specific. And here's the thing: by the time we get to ZX, like as in like the 200 years after the Zero Series time gap, and it goes into the ZX game, cyber elves can be created. People can be turned into them, bro. Human beings can be turned into them. Anybody can become a cyber elf at that point.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I follow you. Yeah.
Which is way different, because that was like some. Yeah, because it's like you literally cyber elves are souls now, but like in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like that's souls have been. We found a way to turn our souls into data.
Right. Our consciousness, in a sense.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah,
A la
absolutely.
Soma.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's like that. So it's like, I don't know. It's weird, man. Like, you see what I'm getting at here?
Souls, or is it stated as consciousness?
They don't specify, but there's an event in the game where there are people being rounded up by Serpent to be turned into cyber elves, human beings. He rounds them up, and they were like, you saved them, and they're like, what the fuck are y'all people doing here? Oh, Serpent rounded us up and tried to turn us into cyber elves. We already seen him do it to another batch. It was horrible. It's like, Yeah, dude, and there, like the thing is, Model W is still. Oh God, dude, Model W, dude, that shit's fascinating. Oh my God, man, I can't wait. Man, I'm gonna just be quiet and wait until you get to it because it gets nutty,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I'll say that ZX ended up intriguing me because you realize that this timeline's completely fucked.
Mhm.
There's no happy ending to the Mega Man series in a way. Like, your characters are going to be fighting for fucking centuries, basically to eternity, until the next person comes around.
Right.
And
It's just
every time the world's going to go to shit in some way, in a catastrophic way, humanity will always come back stronger than ever, and humanity will always die too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is pretty
yeah.
grim, dude. Like, the world gets
That's
reset always, dude.
that's like some near shit there.
Dude, it sucks, man. Like, I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Little boy robot fights the evil scientist. This evil scientist, his legacy carried well into 300 years into the future, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and then by the time ZX rolls around, it's like what Wild does at the end of the Zero series has serious ramifications on the world to the point where basically they just decided, you know what, shit's fucked. We need to just flood everything.
Yeah.
So who knows? And they never made a ZX3, so we don't know how this all goes into Legends. Because Legends is like thousands of years into the future, dude. Maybe. We don't know. Like, it's so far into the future that it's like the people that exist in those days, that like time frame, basically don't even know like the exact time. No, well, no. Let me put it this way: the people of that timeline know the exact point of when history started,
Yeah.
which is a fucking nutty concept to think about, like to actually understand when the world actually began. Like, you've been around, like the world literally has, idea of the world has literally been so new that like that's, the beginning of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you have to think like how long this series has gone on, like, or at least how many things it took to lead up into that. So it's like, fuck, like this, and it still loops all the way back into the classic and X and Zero series, which is, that's why I'm just like, what is this, dude? Like, it opened up some crazy doors, is what I'm getting at.
Uh, yeah.
It just really surprises me playing all these back to back, like how much story gets covered within just these 6 games.
Yeah. It
And
just
like,
because I guess because it just seems like it's not a whole lot getting covered, being that these games are on like certain. I was thinking of the time that they came out. It's like what, maybe yearly or maybe a few years apart.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, like they had a very clear-cut vision, and like they just took the story in directions that like teeter on fan service and answering shit and bringing new mystery to the world. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I didn't even, man, we had no clue how bad shit actually could have gotten during X5, dude. Like, if you see what Wild does in X4 and then to see the repercussions of it in the ZX games, you'll be like, dude, X and Zero had it easy with Sigma. Like, this dude is literally so this dude is so fucking immortal that parts of this ship are still like, it's living.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when he fused with this fucking thing, it's like it's literally become like a living thing, like a living presence in the world. Like, if you go to the actual area, this area that I'm talking about called Area M and
Yeah.
Area N, um, you'll see a lot of similarities to X5. Like, space station type thing crashes so hard into the Earth that it actually like causes a rip into cyberspace. We've seen that in X5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that actually have the same thing happens here, and it's like, but you actually see the remnants of the place like still like writhing, like the wires and shit and like all that. It's like they're living, dude. You see bioorganic stuff, like Geiger style stuff, like lining the walls and stuff. Like, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
like, it's really weird for like this series. So I don't know. it just kind of made me think like, oh shit, like maybe I don't know. Yeah, it just makes you see a lot of parallels to things that happen in the series, and just makes you realize like, yeah, this is kind of like an ongoing theme. Like, don't let things from space fall onto Earth.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because he's just essentially become Wiles essentially become like a Dragon Ball esque essence in the series. No, he basically became Zamasu, where it's like since he's immortal, biometals are a thing, yada yada yada. He, he's he's immortal. You know what I'm saying? Like he is
Yeah.
just going to be this omnipotent presence in the world that he basically is the new Sigma virus that causes Mavericks.
Hmm.
Like Mavericks and shit didn't exist anymore, but then lo and behold, his biometal and body still exists somehow, or just presence exists in the world, so he gets to live
Yeah.
precariously through other things. Yeah, that shit's crazy, man.
Shit.
I'll
Yeah.
say that was the thing that kind of pushed me to finish it.
Yeah. All this shit is interesting, especially like right now with since I'm on 03.
Yeah, what do you think of Zero Two? The recap of that.
Man, let's see. I thought it was interesting. You know, like fucking. I didn't care so much for fucking El Piso.
Yeah, it definitely is the weakest story of the fucking four games.
Yeah,
I'm not even
yeah,
going to disagree with that. It probably has the weakest story, but
yeah. But I mean, at
it
least
definitely
it's
doesn't feel boring.
yeah. At least it has a good build up. You know, it's like it's building up to something bigger. So that's dope.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like it's the first part of part three. You know what I'm saying? Part three, if it
Yeah,
was like two games or just one game, that would be the first like act of it.
yeah,
Because like one thing that you won't know because the games don't tell you, it's only in the dramas or in the actual CDs, like the albums.
yeah.
There's a drama track in it that actually talks about El Paiso. It follows him, and El Paiso in it, he let me put it this way: he came from Neo Arcadia, that's obvious, and he is a Reploid. But here's what's crazy about him: he's actually gone to he's actually gone to a level that's in three, and it's a place that you're going to go to in three.
Oh,
And
okay.
what he finds there is he basically, even though he doesn't say anything about the plot of three in Zero Two, he knows what the fuck's up a lot more than he's given off.
Yeah,
Basically, he actually knows about Omega. He knows about Doctor Weil, and that's exactly why he was like trying to stop, like get the Dark Elf.
yeah. That's why he was so adamant about
Getting it, yeah.
just well gaining power and destroying Neo Arcadia.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Specifically gaining the power of the Dark Elf, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was like the main thing, because he
Figured if he
it's
had it,
something
he would have stood a chance.
that he just basically nobody would have been able to mess with him.
Yeah.
And you'll see what that exactly like. You'll learn more about the Dark Elf and stuff like that too, and what it is as three goes on as well.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, man, like, oh, dude, tell me that shit wasn't crazy when like you get to Neo Arcadia, you climb up to where Yggdrasil is, where X is, the original X, and you're hyped to see it because you're like,
Yeah.
this is a race, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys are like, oh shit, X might come back and join the fight. You get there, and then El Paiso's already waiting, and then he just stops you in his track, just like Vile did all those years to X. And
Hmm.
instead, this time you just gotta watch your boy get killed, dude.
Yeah. Motherfucker
Dude,
just
just like,
destroyed it. I was like, no, you son of a bitch.
yeah, dude, and that's the original X too. Like, so you're like, fuck, dude, like, this ain't like the classic series, and X ain't zero. He ain't just gonna come back like magically. You know what I'm saying? Like, they kind
Yeah.
of establish in this world, like, he needed that body
Yeah.
because the cyber elf shit. So like he is a cyber elf now. So like, oh yeah, dude, that part is crazy. He just he blew X up, dude. It was some bullshit.
Yeah.
Zero's even pissed off too, like watching it. He's just like, just like, God damn it, like he's gotta
Yeah.
sit there and watch his homeboy get killed, dog.
Yeah, that shit was fucked. I guess it's the cool thing about both X and Zero is that technically they can live forever.
Yeah, through science or some form. Did you? By the way, I never asked you about Zero One and now going into Zero Two. Did you pick up on what the four guardians are?
Wait, what?
Did you pick up on what the four guardians are?
What do you mean? Like what exactly they're there for, or like what they are?
Well, like it's obvious that like their X is like most
Disciples
like
or whatever.
well they're created in the image of X. Like they say that a lot, right?
Yeah.
But did you catch on to the fact that like when they mean that, they mean that very literally, as in like each four of them represent a part of X's personality.
Yeah, I figure. Okay.
Like, which is
I never caught
weird.
on to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because you think of Fafnir, and it's like that dude's kind of aggro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
that's an aspect of X's personality. Apparently, like he's just like I'm guessing that's something that happened in all this downtime. Zero wasn't with them, dog. He's just like fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna scorch earth and keep fighting shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Figure this out.
which is kind of sad. Like, it's like yeah, he's become ruthless. But then Harpuya, it's like he has like kind of, but they all have like a sense of respect towards Zero, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Leviathan, I will say, Leviathan and Fafnir, though, they straight up said like those are two characters they kind of have regrets not being able to flesh out as much as they wanted to.
Hmm.
So I hope you don't get too attached to them because, like, yeah, it sucks that they don't really like get to flesh out all the Guardians the way they do Harpuya and Phantom.
Yeah.
Like those two are probably the ones that get most fleshed out. Like it sucks because I've always been curious what like Fafnir and Leviathan actually represent as part of his personality because they're so
Yeah.
different. Like they seem very extreme for the character. Like it's like one's like kind of playful, like I don't know, playful yet like cheerful. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like the innocent side of X, I guess.
Yeah.
But kind of sadistic, dog. Like, I don't know. Leviathan's always out to, like, start some shit and kill you. But,
Yeah.
and Fafnir's just hyper aggro. So I'm just like, I guess that's him just basically being a god of war. Like a machine
Yeah.
for just nothing but fighting.
Yeah. Lives for the fight.
But it's weird, too, because, on the side, like, all of them are part of, like, the relief effort to help humanity, though, like, outside of Neo
Yeah.
Arcadia.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I think the Four Guardians are some of the more interesting characters that I wish that they kind of tackled. I wish they had even more screen time than they do. They get a lot, but I just wish they had more time because they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
They show up every time, and you're just like, oh shit, here we go again. Just like Zero, you're just like, here we go again.
Yep, something's going down. All right.
Cause shit, Zero too. Wasn't it Harpuya? He's riding on Aztec Falcon at the beginning, and he just
Yeah.
says to live or die while you're passed out in the sand. It's just like, man,
Yeah.
come on, bro. Like you gonna strike me down in my weakest?
that shit was,
And he
that shit was
doesn't.
cracking me up whenever he got his transformation. There he is throwing missiles at your ass. Yamano! I was like, what?
Yeah, I found that fascinating. How he's the only one that keeps asking you to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's got to be some sort of representation of X.
Whoa.
Like saying, I'm tired.
You're actually not far off on that because, like, I'm pretty sure, remember X4's ending, Japanese or English? He says, if I go Maverick, you have to kill me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, actually, that's kind of crazy. I actually just thought of that. I was like, because you brought it up, I'm like, yeah, he
yeah,
actually did mention that before. Like, that is very much an X thing.
yeah,
I don't know if that's an intentional callback to it, but yeah, Harpuya definitely wanted you to like ice him. He was like,
yeah.
dude, you need to kill me. This is bad.
Huh.
Yeah, they called them their armored forms, armored phenomenon. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
They're upgraded versions. That's what it says in the art book. They call them the armored phenomenon.
Oh, okay.
It's funny because as you read like the liner notes on shit, like they also mention a lot of like desires or regrets, things like that, like things they did wish they did do or didn't do, and they talk about like how they wish that they didn't kill Phantom off in the first game because the first game was actually supposed to be
Yeah.
a one-off glimpse into the future, and I was like, really, y'all were about to literally only make one of these motherfucking games and then just be like, okay, well, X is the real X is dead. There's a fake bad guy version of him, and Zero just has to fight forever. That was gonna be the ending. Like, holy shit, man! You know what I'm saying? Like, it, that's literally taking. It makes the theme song for Endless Fight make that much more sense because you know how like in the classic series, the old saying was for everlasting peace.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, dog, like for endless fight, it's like, damn, these dudes are just literally gonna die fighting. And that's what they do. They literally die fighting.
Yeah. Crazy because it's all they know. I think that's
Well,
the
that's a,
interesting part. Is like they wanna they fight for peace, but it's kind of like the old mercenary war dog tale of it's like yeah you fight for peace, but you know you eventually know at the by the end of the journey these guys are gonna die in combat, and they know that too.
yeah, Zero definitely. I think X wanted to find alternative methods, and yeah, that just didn't happen, bro.
Yeah.
He X tried to make shit right, and Wild was like, "No, that's too nice. Like you, I don't like the fact that you actually made the best case scenario actually happen. So I'm gonna make this
Huh.
as fucking awful as possible."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Zero just wakes up, and it's like, man's confused. Dude
Mhm.
doesn't smile anymore. Like he hasn't since X5, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he's no nonsense, dude.
Yeah. Wait.
I could
Wait.
see
What
what's
happened?
that?
How did they like? How did he get sealed in 01 anyway?
Okay, so
Is it
what?
explained in one of the games in the X series or no?
Okay, so the only thing that you can infer from is the X60 ending does not specify at any specific point in time that this his ending is going down. But considering Zero came out that following year or that same year in Japan, you can
Uh,
basically say that they were that's whatever that is a glimpse of right before the sealing's actually happening
hmm.
the first time because he gets sealed twice, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, the first time is what we're seeing in the X6 ending is what this is I'm just telling you my opinion. This isn't fact. Capcom's never gone on record and told you like what exactly that ending is inferring. But he gets what I'm inferring from it is that that's the ending that's going to lead into um the cyber elves being developed.
Yeah.
And of course like X using the mother elf and stuff like that to defeat Sigma finally and like just destroy the Maverick virus.
Yep.
That's the ending that leads to that. But mind you, the real Zero, he's still like his consciousness is somewhere in cyberspace. You know what I'm saying? Those are like the two breakout developments that came out of it: the cyber elves and then cyberspace, like actually using cyberspace
Yeah.
and like in cyberspace is where basically it's where you can store consciousness data, whatever you need to.
Yeah.
Zero was there. In the meantime, when Zero was there, Weil stole his body, like the Zero Series body or whatever body he had at the time,
Hmm.
and built Omega around it. And once you start up Zero 3, you'll see Omega's body at the beginning. That's exactly how it's supposed to look in like the X series or whatever, the Elf War, leading into the Elf Wars. But he
Yeah.
steals his body, he uses the Dark Elf or whatever, and like basically makes all the robots that X, you know, made normal go Maverick at once, like everybody, good or bad. And that's what causes like the Elf Wars to start.
Hmm. Okay.
But because shit gets so bad, they had to make a copy body for Zero and, you know, put the real Zero's consciousness in it and, have him fight alongside X so they can get rid of Omega and Weil. Once that was all said and done, that's what leads into what you're seeing at the beginning of Zero One,
Yeah.
where he's in that like he has no arms. He's literally been disarmed and locked up. And that's why in the drama CD you hear X tripping about Zero sealing himself again because he's just like, you know, it, he's tripping because he's like, we've already saved the world, like everything's all good. Like, why do you need to seal yourself up? You know what I'm saying? That's what X is. That's the question that X is positing to Zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, everything's all good, so like, why are you like still sealing yourself? Zero's answer is basically, as long as I'm around, like, blood will be spilled, I guess.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying. Like, he's just like, me being around, nothing's good ever has come around it, so like, I'm just sealing myself.
I see.
But of course, the world needs them both, dude.
Yeah. That's the weird. That's the unfortunate takeaway.
I mean, with the strife comes like that means to survive, I guess.
Hmm.
Because, like, I mean, in the future, like, I mean, like I said, they had to wake Zero back up again because it's like shit got bad.
Yep.
I don't know. At this point in time, I feel like there needs to be something a bit more consolidated as far as timeline stuff goes because I feel like a lot of things can either overlap or be inferred in multiple different ways. Neither of them really are wrong because they just lead to the same place anyway. But I just
Yeah.
think they should make more clear cut answers. Like, is the sequence of events like Zero didn't get sealed twice? Is it he just gets sealed once? Like stuff like that. When did he get the body changed? Things like that. Because I can accept like him looking like the way he does in these games in
Yeah.
the X series, just because you've seen by the time X8 rolls around, they're kind of like getting more humanoid, I guess. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bamboo pandemonium. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, X is like wearing the fucking Jesus robes in this game. Like they straight up aren't even like being subtle about the Christ imagery with it.
Yeah.
Especially because like Copy X, like the evil one, like becomes Seraph or whatever, like like the Seraph X form or whatever,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
like yeah, and I don't know. It had a lot of striking parallels to like Sigma's first form from X1, like that final form. You know what I'm talking about, like the wolf
Yeah.
thing. It reminded me of that, and it also reminded me of Lumine's form in X8 with the angelic form.
Yeah.
So like I was like, yeah, when you see angels in this series, like it's usually a bad thing. Oh, one thing that fucked me up too is when I was looking through the art book, skimming through it, there's an image in there of of Neo Arcadia, like from a specific angle. And you know the place that that Copy X and all the Guardians and all the remaining humanity lives and stuff.
Hmm.
Dude, on the side of it, it says orbital elevator. Motherfucker, they built that shit around the Jacobs elevator, dude, in from X8.
Oh, really?
That's what it is. That's the only other dude, they don't have many space elevators. That's like the fucking big deal about X8, like they built one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Jacob's
So it's
ladder.
kind of yeah, so it's crazy that it's crazy that they just call it Jacobs or like elevator or whatever. It's just like whatever now. Like, that's just where Neo Arcadia is.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that an innocuous level from X2 ended up becoming the biggest in it the the biggest resource in that series, like in that game's world. But then fast forward into the Zero series, it's like Copy X basically goes on a genocide against like other robots because this energy source from a stage in X2 just became low.
Yeah.
Because you collect E crystals to feed to your like cyber elves, and like E crystals are needed for their like, dude, it's their juice, dog. They need their coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, because he was on some brutal shit. He was like, my prime directive is to help make sure humanity stays alive, and it means giving my kind the bare fucking minimum resources needed to stay alive.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
I mean, can you imagine that if the roles are reversed? Bruh, if you can survive off one piece of bread, you are literally getting one piece of bread.
Yeah.
That's basically what he did. And he was like, you'll get a piece of bread every day. But that one piece is all you need because that's literally all you need to survive. I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
that's fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
so that, and then here's the crazy part. When they just try to leave Neo Arcadia, he's like, Maverick, kill the motherfuckers.
God damn.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like that's why like they were coming after CL and shit because it's like she was trying to help these robots, dude. Like she's like, this kind of fucked up. And they're like, well, you know what they say, guilty by association.
Yep.
Then yeah, that and then once they start labeling humanity as Mavericks, that becomes a problem. Funny thing is, I'm sure you noticed throughout like these games, they never actually try to kidnap or kill CL. They
Yeah.
never actually
They let
try
him
to
go.
kill her. I mean, they'll
They
try
let
to
him
fuck
go.
Zero up, but they never actually try to kill her because they still are like, well, she's a human. Like, you can't do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot wait for you to get through Zero 3, dude. The plot just, oh, dude,
The
it
plot
doesn't,
thickens.
bro, it thickens like gravy. Motherfucker, fuck that. That shit becomes roux. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that is some gumbo roux thick, dude, with okra and all, dude. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. The amount of elements they start introducing into that story is crazy. So, like, and then the funny thing is, this will leave you feeling a lot more optimistic than two. Two kind of ends on like some Empire Strikes Back shit. Like it's like I don't know, man. Like things ain't looking good, and things seem to only about like they're only about to get worse in the next
Yeah.
game, and it
Yep.
does. But three ends on a better note. But on the other hand, too, things are about to like you don't feel like things are over yet.